What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm gonna talk a little Mikey Garcia, Vasily Lomachenko. Once upon a time super fight that I think still is one, and I really want to have happen. But Lomachenko clowns Mikey, man. Clowns him bad. Said he showed up to get a check and stand up for 12 rounds, and he really wasn't impressed by his performance. Basically said he went out like a punk. You know, really, really rough words from Lomachenko, but let's chop it up about that. But before we do, thank you for coming back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. And then hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. Also, check us out on Monday through Friday, start time between 10:30 and 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time when we do our live streams. Also, for the Patreons, we're going to be doing our live streams on the Patreon starting as soon as we get to a consensus on the time. We got the 52 Patreons or 51 Patreons now, so we're ready to roll with that. Thank you guys so much for the support. As you know, Mikey Garcia fought Errol Spence Jr., and he talked a gang of stuff in the lead up to the fight. Had a whole lot of people convinced that he could beat Errol Spence Jr. Many fans of Mikey Garcia were saying that Mikey Garcia was going to stop Errol Spence Jr. You had Robert Garcia saying that he thought that he could, there's a possibility that Mikey Garcia could stop Errol Spence Jr. Mikey Garcia said that if he saw the knockout, he was definitely going to go for it. And he saw a possibility of that as well. Mikey said he was going to outbox Errol Spence Jr. for 12 straight rounds. Had people like Teddy Atlas, Sugar Ray Leonard, George Foreman, and others saying, you know, that Mikey Garcia and Mikey Garcia's boxing IQ was going to be too much for Errol Spence Jr. So everybody was all amped up for the fight. Had me nervous, saying Mikey had a chance. You know, I was drinking I drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid. I didn't take a whole glass. I didn't drink a whole glass of that Kool-Aid. But, you know, I was like, hey, man, it's boxing. Anything can happen. He's got a chance. And then Mikey Garcia gets in the ring. And like I've said before, and I'll say it again, he turns into Adrian Bronner. Refuses to throw punches. The fight was over after the first round, in my eyes. The second round, Mikey threw some punches towards the end of the second round, try to steal a couple rounds. Errol obviously saw what was going on with that. I think he saw it about a month before the fight started, because at the end of every round, when the bell went off, when that little tap went on and it was time for the last 10 seconds, Errol Spence Jr. moved away from Mikey Garcia and didn't allow Mikey Garcia to throw any punches that came anywhere near landing on him for the last 10 seconds of the fight. And I laughed every time it happened, because I thought, wow, there goes that game plan. And once that happened, Mikey Garcia never tried to win that fight. When Errol Spence Jr. was throwing 5, 6, and I think, shoot, at one point in time, he might have hit Mikey Garcia with 17, 18 straight punches. But he just kept hiding behind his hands, wouldn't let his hands go, wouldn't try to counter him, because he was trying not to get hurt, he was trying not to get hit, and that's what Lomachenko saw. And that's what Lomachenko was calling out for him and saying, look, man, you just showed up to get that check. Now he got a check now. I don't know what his percentage cut of that pay-per-view was, what his percentage cut of the gate was, but you know, Mikey Garcia I think he bought either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini before the fight happened, which made me believe when I saw it, it's like, is there a chance Mikey's just happy he's getting this killer payday? Because he might have got 10, 15 fights worth of money in one fight, right? That's a good showing for Mikey. But as far as what's going on with Lomachenko, it really did sully the chances of a Lomachenko versus Mikey Garcia fight, because Mikey kind of went out like, you know, he didn't go out like that warrior, man. There was no warrior in Mikey. There was punching bag in Mikey. Mikey, I said it before, I'm gonna say it again, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence Jr. turned Mikey Garcia into Adrian Bronner, where he just kind of stood there in a high guard, absorbing punches, hoping that he could find a crack with a counter punch and never put on the gas. But actually, as I compare his performance to Adrian Bronner, it was even less so, because the more the fight went on, the less. There was never a point in time when Mikey Garcia really tried to step on the gas. A little bit in round 2, like I said, and maybe a little bit in round 7, but 8 through 12, it was a beat down. And honestly, man, I think his family did him a disservice by not throwing in that towel. I think Mikey Garcia has damaged he made his money, but he really, really damaged his brand as far as that ever being able to be that guy that says he went out there like a warrior. I think he would have been better off if he would have just started trying to light off on Errol Spence Jr., really tried to get a pound of flesh out of Errol Spence Jr., and took an attitude out of that fight like, look, yeah, I might not win this, but I'm going to try to hurt you, man, in the process, right? Kind of like what Orlando Salido did to Mikey Garcia, with Mikey Garcia. Orlando Salido was getting just absolutely owned in that fight against Mikey Garcia. Absolutely owned. But he kept coming forward, he kept coming forward, he kept eating punches, he kept trying to put his foot on the gas. And once he put on his foot, by keeping his foot on the gas, eventually he started getting to Mikey in the later rounds, man. And Orlando Salido is not a guy, I doubt that the guy's worth $15 million, $20 million. I think he's now a mayor in a city in Mexico. But Orlando Salido's reputation as a boxing is that, quote unquote Mexican warrior. Man, that shit, it will forever be cemented, man. And that's a guy who's got 12, 13 losses in his career. And you'll always know Orlando Salido was somebody that absolutely gave everything he had. And if you were going to come into a fight and beat Orlando Salido, you're going to really have to beat Orlando Salido, because Orlando Salido was going to try to do his thing to you every minute that fight lasted. Same thing with how he overcame Vasily Lomachenko, man. Gave Vasily Lomachenko that loss, and would have gave Vasily, as long as he's in good health with that type of attitude, man, he's still going to give it to him. Guys like Jose Luis Castillo with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a far superior boxer, and he won the second fight. A lot of people think that Jose Luis Castillo won the first fight. I don't, but a lot of people do. So, hey, man, it's on the record for Floyd Mayweather, but that type of attitude, man, that solidified that dude as a legend, man. Jose Luis Castillo. Same thing for guys like when Oscar De La Hoya fought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. Man, I think he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. twice, man, but blood all over the place, man. An older Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. against a young, big, fresh Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya just jabbing him, just doing work on him, but it wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop Julio Cesar Chavez from coming forward and trying to get his pound of flesh and winning that fight. Man, there's something to be said about that attitude, man. And to have Vasily Lomachenko just say you came in there to get a paycheck, stick behind a high guard, and just stay on your feet for 12 rounds no matter what, that is a big hit that's a big charge right there. If Mikey Garcia's got his money, hopefully Mikey Garcia can come back, fight somebody else, man, and really show, that true warrior spirit, man. A lot of people were giving Mikey Garcia credit for being a warrior because he stepped up there and he fought the bigger guy. But if you're going to go up there and fight the bigger guy, you got to actually fight the bigger guy. Avoiding him and trying not to get knocked out at all costs was he in a war, or was just attrition? There's a war of attrition, like who's going to quit, and there's just attrition. Mikey Garcia having Lomachenko, another champion, a guy that he was supposed to fight. I want him to fight, man. I so much wish now, other than for the sake, of Errol Spence Jr. and Errol Spence Jr.'s star status in his pocketbook, and, his ability to, his display of his boxing skills. Those are a lot of good things that came out of that for Errol Spence Jr. I'm happy for Mikey Garcia's pocketbook. That's something that really came out big out of that fight for his pocketbook. But for his reputation as a warrior, man, I really hope he goes at least 140 pounds. Fights a guy like Regis Prograis, fights a guy like Baranachek, fights a guy like Josh Taylor. Some guys like that, they can really are the same size as him and who are going to come to battle. And then I think he might be able to get that back. But Lomachenko clowning, man. And hopefully we get to see the Lomachenko fight. But anyway, with that, I'm out.